that you share the stream. Mahamudu Yakubu. I nearly said Mahamudu Baumia. I know he will not be watching the stream, but no problem at all. So let me just tell you what we'll be discussing this morning. And it's about the Electoral Commission, the reactions from the NDC as well, from the EC itself on the ongoing registration exercise, especially these days I'm always on TikTok. There are sporadic incidents where sometimes people are brought to the centers and you have reactions from party agents saying that they're either minors or foreigners, so-called, or sometimes you have fisticuffs, that is exchanges and all that, concerns about machines being slow, etc. The NDC had undertaken a press conference raising those issues. The Electoral Commission responding as well. So we have Awal Mohammed currently with the NYEP? YEA. Okay. Thank you for joining us, Awal Mohammed, one of the great guys. Alhaji.
Thank you so much.
You've been to Becca, right?
No, I've not.
Not yet.
Yes.
Not yet. After 7 years, you haven't. When will you go?
But it's not government that sends people to.
I didn't say.
Yeah, you said after 7 years, as if I am 40 now. So.
Okay, you still have more years. Yeah. Abdullahi Prince Kamaldeen also joining us, and then I have Usman Ayariga. He's a legal practitioner. He's also an officer of the NDC as well. Good morning to you, Usman.
Good morning to you.
Your position in the NDC is Deputy
National Youth Organizer.
National Youth Organizer. So you're deputy to Pablo?
Yes, please.
Pablo, George Opariado, good morning to you as well. And then also a regular for us, he works or does a lot of work for industry, not only extractive. He's chair for the Ghana Energy Awards. He also does a lot of work with the AGA as well, currently looking at a number of works for them, for the state actually. Lawyer Kwame Jantua is also. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well.
You're looking well.
Thank you.
I like your shirt.
I had this one made for me by my regular designer. Nice. She's called Elizabeth, based in Tema Community 153.
She's put on the side.
This one, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. And Elizabeth, thank you very much for this. Ellis Couture.
Let me also wish a good friend, Ambassador
Sampi Yali. Yes,
okay,
Ambassador Sampi.
Happy 70th birthday.
Happy 70th birthday.
Don't forget us with the party. We also want to come and
you shouldn't. Okay, so the party, eh?
Yes.
A lot of birthday parties have been going on these days.
Yes.
Yeah, we had the one by Samia Uku as well as no.
That one I didn't know. That one I was.
Yes,
I didn't know about.
Don't worry. And then Sami Jemfi as well. So you see that I have to be objective.
Why are you laughing?
So Sami Uku, Sami Jemfi. I balanced it.
Was Sami Uku's party? I saw the cake coming from the sky.
Really?
I think I saw the video.
I mean, I didn't watch the video. Samuel Justice Anaba N. Thank you. Nana Bakan. Good. You said good morning. You're watching us from Rara. Yeah, that's after Pando. Rara. I know Kwame Nkrumah, all those places. I know that place very well as well because I went to Bishop Herman. So it helps to get to know many locations. Please share the stream. So let's have a nice conversation. But before we go into the Electoral Commission issues, Dr. Mahamudu Baumia had promised that yesterday the nurses, because there was a question that was asked. Where was the question asked a while? I'm told that you are part of the campaign trail. There was a nurse who asked a question that the allowances hadn't been paid.
Yes.
There's been reaction that it's just an isolated case. It's
Yes.
177 million. Is it 170, 170?
172, right?
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I think so, yes.
All right.
What, the amount? Yeah. 177 million.
77, yes.
Okay, so let's hear from Dr. Mahamudu Baumia just shortly. We'll just have some rounds, whether the money has...
The controller transferring 177 million Ghana cedis to the Ministry of Health to pay the nursing training allowances. So I have also alerted Dr. Okoboi to be on standby. When the money hits the Ministry of Health account, they should move it quickly to the accounts of the nursing trainees so that they will have their alawa. It will drop car import duty waivers that nurses and midwives used to enjoy.
We're grateful for Dr. Mahamudu Baumia making things happen. Usually he would say that he's the vice and so doesn't, but it means, and Dr. Okoboi too as well, making sure. Has it dropped?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Good morning to our cherished viewers, and let me say good morning to Dr. Alhaji Bawumia. He's on the campaign trail today as well. He was in the northern region yesterday, and he will be in Upper East this morning. So good morning to him, and good morning to the campaign team. You remember the famous campaign message, hostels for Kayais, that Dr. Bawumia promised.
Has it dropped?
Yes, we promised, I'm just giving you an information, we promised a hostel for Kayais in 2016 manifesto. And God being so good, we've been able to construct about 6. It's ready here in Accra, and it will be inaugurated on Tuesday.
Where?
Tuesday. One is in Medina, and the other is in Ashama. Yes.
Which part of Ashama?
I do not know the location very well. I only know the Medina location because I have been there. But the two will be inaugurated on Tuesday by Dr. Bawumia, and 4 institutions have been charged with recruitment of all these Kayais, and they will be given alternative means of livelihood. So on Tuesday, 600 of them will be housed in the 2 hostels. Right. And agencies, Youth Employment Agency, Ghana Enterprises Agency, Get Fund, and NEIP will be in charge of the training. And after that, we will give them the startup kits to be able to really have sustainable means of livelihood. So on Tuesday, that will happen. On the campaign trail, what Dr. Bawumia does is that he, in the morning...
Please answer my question.
I'm answering that question.
No,
you want me to answer
Has the
which
money
way?
got into the account?
I am not controller and accountant general. So I am telling you what happened. I'm saying that in the campaign, what he does is that it is not the conventional campaign that you know. The campaign he does is that in the morning he will meet the clergy with the imams. After that, he will meet the chiefs. They also raise their concerns. He note them, tell them what he will be able to do for them. Then he will do the Youth Connect, where the youth will come and ask him any question and he will answer. So as part of the questions, one of the NESI trainee came and asked the question. And he said when he gets back to Accra, he will make sure that he will ask the finance ministry, get to know why they have not been paid and see whether they will be able to pay it within the period. So he came back to Accra. At an event, he told the nurses that this amount of money,
has the money dropped?
177 will be transferred yesterday to the account, and by next week they will be able to receive it. Yesterday in the northern region, he mentioned that the monies will be transferred yesterday, even in the region when he met them for the Youth Connect. So
has it been transferred?
I do not know that for a fact at the moment, but what I'm telling you is that he says the money will be transferred yesterday by the controller. Then they will subsequently transfer it into their accounts next week.
Okay. So next week they will get the money.
It's next week because it passed through a process.
Yeah,
they are paid through
Bank of Ghana, you go through the process.
GIPS, not Bank of Ghana, GIPS, so that at least they will be able to
it's next week
credit their
those who haven't been paid your allowances next week.
By next week, they should be able to really start receiving
it was a very simple question.
Yes.
Awal went around looking at the strategy, and we all know the strategy. But Awal, thank you very much for this. So next week, the money was supposed to have been transferred yesterday. So Awal has assured us that the transfer has been made. Next week it will reflect. Official. Yeah. All right. Now let's look at all the issues as it is. Now let's go to what the NDC has been saying. Subsequently, we'll go to the Electoral Commission and all. You wanted to make comment on it?
You can comment.
Oh, you wanted to?
Oh, of course. You all want to comment on it. Or you don't want to comment on it?
Well, I think as a person, I think there will be a whole discussion.
Yes, so definitely. There will be a discussion for the campaign.
Okay. So now let's listen to Fifi Kwete as well as Dr. Strebo as well.
With their rigging strategy, by deliberately misrepresenting and miscalculating registration figures, our prompt detection and exposure of these egregious errors should serve as a clear warning to the EC about the vigilance of the NDC. We are fully prepared to safeguard the sanctity of the coming elections. We expect the EC to now firmly renounce any intention, if it exists, to collude with the failed NPP government to rig the election. To address the 35 critical questions posed by the NDC regarding the theft of the biometric equipment. The gravity of these issues cannot be overstated, and we demand clear and prompt responses. Furthermore, we insist on the initiation of an independent bipartisan parliamentary inquiry into the conduct of the Electoral Commission, particularly focusing on the stolen BVR case, which were under CCTV surveillance at the Electoral Commission headquarters, and the mysterious disappearance of. I'd like to caution that President Akufo-Addo is treading on treacherous ground, possibly encouraged by assurances that the Electoral Commission of Ghana will rig the 2024 elections in favor of his party. If the EC by any chance harbors any such plans, then they better revise their notes. As the General Secretary of this party, I want to assure all Ghanaians that MPP's machinations will not prevail. They will have no choice but to vacate the Flagstaff House and hand over smoothly to President John Mahama and Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman in January 2025.
Anybody who has followed elections will appreciate that these are not, even just in 2020, there were a lot of issues when we decided to go for a new biometric voter registration activity. There were a lot of issues, but you and I will tell me, we agree that when we did it, it was a successful activity. That currently we have one of the best BVDs in the world in terms of the speed and accuracy in determining voters and the rest. So for us, posterity will judge us. The first thing that I want people to know that offline is part of the registration process, so it's not something new. And if you talk of 2020, we did more offline than online, because the further you are from the district office, the difficulty, the stronger will be the difficulty of getting connectivity.
Yeah, and wow, if you take
Start
start
from him, because you played a press conference by the NDC. So start from him. Let him tell us what they are raising, the issues they are raising, so that at least we can address it. But you can't just start with me when I am from MPP.
All right.
Yeah, start from him. Let's listen to the issues they are raising, so that at least we can talk about it.
All right.
At least.
Thank you for showing me how to host.
At least say please.
I'm starting from you.
At least say please.
Okay, so please.
Roland, good morning
no,
to you.
don't worry.
Good morning to my
It's a good morning.
co-panelists here, and good morning to His Excellency Sampi Ali. I mean, before I even go into our press conference that was held yesterday and read by our General Secretary, Fifi Fiavekwete, I would want to first and foremost say congratulations to most of our constituency branch and regional, also national executives who have been part of this entire registration process. All those who have been vigilant and continue to be vigilant and monitor across the length and breadth of this country. I just want to encourage them to keep on moving on, because for us to take such an incompetent, corrupt government out of power, it requires us to be able to register as many young eligible voters who are ready to join that clarion call. I also want to call on the youth of this country, who only sometimes complain on their social media handles that they need to be part of the process to effect the change that they all yearn for. They need to be part of the process to build the Ghana we all want to live in. So for them to be part of that process, they need to get registered. So to the young people out there, let us not just comment, let us not just speak on social media handles or complain on social media handles, but we need to go out there, get registered, and be ready to vote out this incompetent MPP administration. Roland, since the EC started its registration exercise, the NDC has observed, with very critical observation, of some mishappenings and some administrative lapses so far as the entire registration process is concerned. And yesterday was one of the press conferences we held to lay out some of these issues. The first press conference was read by the national chairman of the party, and this was read by the general secretary of the party. And we raised 5 key important issues. Key amongst them was one, it had to do with the recruitment of the EC officials at the various registration
What about
centers. If you look at the own CI of the EC, CI 126, it states how the recruitment process should be done and how the EC needs to make available all the information of all the recruited persons, at least 14 days to any exercise. Then the actors or the political parties are given 7 clear days to be able to raise objections to any of the persons that are being recruited by the EC. And this was not done. This has never been done. And these are some of the issues that we decided to point out to the EC, that we are a country governed by laws. We are a country governed by your own CI. Your own CI you took to Parliament and that was passed. So how then can you decide to fault most of these laws that were created by the Constitution and by inference your own CI? These are the issues and these are the questions we're asking. Quite apart from that, since the day of registration, since I think we started on the 6th or 7th to today, day in, day out, there are issues of faulty machines. There are issues of machines not working. And there are issues of networks. And we tell you that this is not the first time we are going through a registration exercise. We all know the challenges we went through in the
But it's not
2023.
the first time that
We
the
all know the
Electoral
challenges.
The Electoral Commission has a number of people that it always recruits for some of these exercises. And so, to me, that would be surprising for that conclusion to be made by the NDC.
Yes, even though you have people you use for some of these exercises, every time you're going to undergo a new exercise, you need to furnish the political actors of the names and persons, because you can have
With
a pool
recourse
of
to
persons.
law.
Yes, recourse to
Okay,
law.
okay,
You can
I
have a
get
pool
you.
of persons you pick from. But every time you're going to engage or undertake any fresh exercise, you need to make available the names of the persons, because they are not permanent staff of the Electoral Commission. Now, the next issue we raised had to do the issues of faulty machines that the EC keeps using. And every time you have machines breaking down, you have network issues. And we keep saying that this is not the first time the EC is undertaking a registration exercise. And this is not the first time we have to go through some of these challenges. In 2023, we all knew the challenges we went through. We all knew the challenges we went through so far as faulty machines were concerned, so far as the obsolete machines were concerned, and so far as the breakdown of machines are concerned. So you cannot come into 2024 and repeat the same old mistakes. As the Electoral Commission, we expect that by this time you would have learned from your mistakes in 2023. But clearly, you are interested in repeating the same mistakes even in 2024. Roland, as part of the responsibilities of the Electoral Commission, aside from registering and conducting elections, key among them is your ability to just simply sum up numbers. Because even on 7th December, after we're done voting, it has to do with calculating and summing up numbers. So for the Electoral Commission, with all of its sophistication and all of its human resource, to find it very difficult to undertake a simple arithmetic exercise of the number of people it has registered, to the extent that you put it on your website, your social media handles, then the election director of the NDC comes to correct you that per hour figures is different from what you have published on your website. Then you come back with an apology, telling
Yes,
us
they
that
did.
you retract those figures and these are the real figures. This is just registration exercise, not even voting. And you and I understand the kind of environment when we get into voting and what it means. So this is just a registration exercise where you have the luxury of time to sit down and add numbers. How difficult is it to add 20 people who have registered in Ayawaso West to 30 people who have registered in Ayawaso North? How difficult is it for the EC to do that? That this time around, it has to take the election director of the NDC to correct the Electoral Commission that your figures are misleading, and for them to retract, apologize, and give us the right figures. And we are saying that we are not going to countenance to any form of incompetence. They may see it as incompetent, but we are seeing it as some machination. Because if today you are able to underdeclare figures of registration, mean that we are going to follow suit to the end of the election, and we will
There
not
was a press
sit
conference
idly.
by the Electoral Commission. Their response is that they don't think there's anything wrong.
There's everything wrong, because part of your responsibility is just add figures and give us the right figures. So if you started giving us wrong figures in time of registration, only God knows what will happen on election day. And this is what we are telling, that we are very vigilant, and this is just the beginning. So even if during registration we are able to tell you that you are making mistakes, be rest assured, on the day of voting and the collation of results, we will be extremely vigilant with the EC. Roland, The next issue has to do with the basing of minors, most especially from the MPP, and also the abuse of the Ghana card. There's a case in Pusiga constituency where the elections officer used one Ghana card to register about 20 people. The same Ghana card to register about 20 people. And these are cases in other places that we would be unearthing and bringing out the details. So if we didn't have a very vigilant representative or a vigilant observer there who was able to point out to the mishappenings or the scheme by the EC's own official, then what it means is that 20 people would have gotten their names into the register, and if they are able to clean it in terms of the verification, that means that you have 20 people who are not eligible to be on the voters register. These are some of the issues we are raising. Quite apart from that, we also raise the issues of security. And I find it very, very, very disheartening, especially and also disappointed in the Ghana police and how they have handled most of these security issues.
What do you mean by
that? You remember, and you will realize that there's the eagerness to bring out information, especially when it is believed to be on the side of the NDC, or once they are able to bring out information to just tarnish the name of members of the NDC. You remember the case of Collins Dowda when the Ghana police issued a statement saying he was arrested. When Collins Dowda was far away from even the incident, Collins Dowda was never arrested. We've seen cases in Okaikwe North just yesterday when the police arrested about 20 people believed to be thugs from the MPP who were brought by the MPP to come and foment trouble in Okaikwe North, Teresa Awuni's constituency. After they were at the police station, some big wigs of the MPP were there trying to secure bail for them. Why hasn't the Ghana police issued a statement to tell us the people behind it, the people trying to secure bail for these persons? Why is the Ghana police quiet on this matter? But they were quick to report that of Collins Dowda when he was actually nowhere near the chaos in Esunafu North. I'm saying that we are equally disappointed in the Ghana police, just as we are disappointed in the EC for its inability to be fair, transparent, and some level of integrity. And we expect by this time the National Peace Council to be interested in the happiness of this entire process. It is not just about calling us to go for a peace walk, calling us to go for a peace gala, calling us to come and sit on a round table and discuss peace. No, for there to be peace, there must be fairness. For there to be peace, there must be transparency. And the EC must exhibit the high level of integrity. Without this, how can you now tell us that you want peace?
If you listen to Dr. Sebro Kwaku, as well as Dr. Bosman Asari in that press conference, they say that as far as they are related or concerned, they have put in place all the measures. Now, some of these infractions, and they are all not only covered by the mainstream media, but also on social media as well, also means that there has to be civil society raising some of these concerns. Do you think civil society has lived to the billing?
I cannot, you see, sometimes you cannot decide to lump all civil societies. I believe some civil societies have been able to rise to the occasion. But by and large, I think most of them, or most of the civil societies, have been extremely quiet on this issue. And that is why I'm saying that let us not wait until there's chaos, then we start preaching peace. Okay. Otherwise, the peace that the National Peace Council and any other civil society will be looking for will just be an error name, or the peace we all call our sisters or brothers somewhere. So let us look for the peace we are all looking for. The Peace Council, is time for you to act. Don't wait until chaos erupts. Then you start calling for a peace gala, you start calling for a peace walk, you start calling political actors to come and sit on a round table to discuss peace. This is the time for you to call for peace. This is the time for you to call for transparency. So far as the EC is concerned, this is the time for you to call for fairness. This is the time for you to call for them to be neutral, and this is the time for you to ask them to inject level of integrity to their work.
Now, at the end of the day, all stakeholders, including the MPP and the NDC as well, want the best for the elections, and then the trust for the commission prior to the main election. And we all know that's December 7th. Do you think that by the concerns that have been raised, the report on social media, for example, and then also you have the individuals who are bused to the place, and then they are saying you shouldn't bus them, whilst we know that the registration, for example, is at a particular location, And somebody would generally have to aid for individuals to be able to transport it to that center to get registered. Do you think that that gives the commission the kind of trust and credibility it needs for the 2024 general elections?
Thank you so much. I think 2024, we're still talking about registration and violence at the registration centers. This is just limited registration. I think that's one of the reasons why the EC said that they wanted the primary document of registration should be the Ghana card. If we had used the Ghana card, if that CI that they laid in Parliament, which the NDC objected to it, had passed through, there is the highest possibility that you may not find all these things. Because the people who come there with their Ghana card, the person must be 18 years. His nationality will not be questioned again. His Ghana card will also be there. You understand? And there will not be any issue at the registration. And there will be continuous registration, which is embedded in that law. The NDC opposed to it, and they said they still want the guarantor system and these issues. And that is the reason we're facing all these issues. They, as a stakeholder, NDC, are right to challenge almost all the things that they feel that as a political party, they believe the EC is not being fair. We in the MPP are saying that this is registration exercise and this is limited registration. And we know that it is 18, 19, and some few other people who did not really get opportunity to register when they were doing the registration
in terms
exercise.
of the brackets.
Exactly. The
target groups.
Yes, the target groups. Now, we believe that every Ghanaian 18 years and above should be on the register. That's what the MPP, that's the position of the MPP. Every Ghanaian who is 18 years and above should be on the register. It is not guaranteed that if you aid someone to register, the person will vote for you. I listened to one of our MPs, IAP, Ayen Swano. He said he said in 2020, when they were doing the limited registration, he aided a lot of people. He had the resources, he had all the cars, he did everything, aided a lot of people to go to the registration center. After that, they came in 2020 to vote against him. They voted against him, but he aided them. He said he did a lot of work than even the NDC candidate. So the possibility that someone is sending someone to the registration center and the person will vote for him is not there. Because the Ghanaian is discerning by the day, especially the 18-year-olds. You saw them in Kumasi. They were moving around house to house calling on 18-year-olds to come and register. Some of them are saying that we benefited from free senior high school. So we believe that our counterparts should come out, register so that they can renew the mandate of this
What's
government.
your point with this?
I don't have any issue with this.
Okay.
And I believe that every Ghanaian must do that because they are just
So you're
helping,
saying that
they are aiding the
busing
publicity.
should not be a problem?
The busing becomes a problem when you bus a minor. Because when you check the registration exercise, in almost all the constituencies, you see about 3-4 places that they register. These 3-4 places, there is the highest possibility that you may find someone from far away from the 3 or 4 places that the person is supposed to register. So there is the highest, if you aid the person as a political party, you can aid the person to come there. But when you paint the picture as if it is only MPP that is aiding people to come and register, check what happened in Sankore. No, Kukum. It was a challenge form that our agent challenged some people who were bussed into the station to register. They challenged them. Then some thugs came and shot guns and shot warning shots over there and disrupted the process. And my brother is saying that Collins Dauda was not at the scene, but he was arrested. The police were not able to arrest a single person there, but the police were able to identify the 2 cars belonging to Collins Dauda. So if Collins Dauda's car was used by the thugs to go and fire guns there.
Is it not fair that if the police acted in one instance,
yes,
that same action should be replicated in another? Is that not the case?
I don't understand the question.
So, for example, there are incidents where we have some matured bodies in one of the centers.
Where?
is it Okankwe or one of those?
The person who even shot.
Now listen.
It's an NDC person and he's behind the bus right now as I speak.
Now
they have arrested some people.
Now, at the end of the day, you have indeed agreed that both sides are undertaking actions to make sure that they get people registered. Now, if there are actions that are...
Osman is saying that NDC is not aiding people to register. It's the MPP that is passing people.
Let me just make this intervention. So, if there are actions that seem to be infractions and the police need to act, shouldn't it be equitable so that
equitable means what? Because where have you seen that the police have not made any arrests?
Where there are disruptions.
Where?
Then, for example, in Okankwe, and there are incidents...
About 20 people have been arrested in Okankwe.
I do understand, but I'm saying that where the actions of the police need to be equitable, then it also means that if there are statements that need to be issued, because in one instance it has been issued, it should be issued for the others as well.
I don't speak for the police service, but I'm only speaking to the facts.
Is that not where the problem
I'm only speaking to the facts. The facts are that the guys who went there and disrupted the process with guns went there in two cars that belongs to Collins Dauda. And that was the reason Collins Dauda was arrested, because the police were not able to arrest any of them. So they found out the owner of the car being Collins Dauda, and that was the reason. So Collins Dauda needed to not to be at the stage at the place where the disruption happened, because today, if your car is found in Tema, used to commit a crime, and they are not able to arrest the people, they will look for you and arrest you so that you can produce the person you gave the car to, and that was the reason. Again, on issues of network, as he said that there are a lot of issues with the network and so on.
Is it not true?
That is true. When you go to a constituency like Sechra Plains, I use it to illustrate. Sechra Plains in Ashanti region has only Drobonso that has light. Only one town has light, that is Drobonso. But when you're going to that constituency, there are instances where you have to go and pass through Atebubu before you enter around the Seneso area. There are instances where you will have to pass through Kwau, through Donkokrom before you enter certain areas. So these are areas, when you go there, there is no way you will be able to even get proper network to register them. That was the reason they said in 2020, and that is true. In 2020, there were offline registrations because areas like this are inaccessible. You don't even get networks. There are areas even around Drobon so that when you go, you don't even get network to even make a call. So if they are there to do registration, there is the highest possibility that they are going to use the offline to do the registration. On computation of the figures, I believe this is an unpardonable mistake that the EC had committed. Because you see, nobody asked you to really give us daily updates on your Facebook page. Then you came and said
for transparency, we need
you said you would give us. And we were happy to really get this from the EC, saying that it will give you daily updates. When you come and you are publishing it, you have to be meticulous enough, because the figures you are publishing are official figures from you. If you make any mistake, you will really put doubt in the minds of a lot of people, including us as a political party. Because when you come with a figure, and later it is pointed out that the figures were not correct, I think this is an unpardonable mistake. You're not in a rush. You're not really a media house to say that we want to be the first to publish. Take your time, publish what is accurate, so that at least everyone will have the confidence in you that you'll be able to do it. On how
Mr. Awal,
doing this.
That said, is that not why connoisseurs, as well as critics of this electoral commission, says its line of action and the precedent it had set sets the tone for distrust for its work, and then also appearances of manipulation, which ultimately could lead to undermining what the outcome of the 2024 general elections could be?
Okay, so
because we've had even on campaign platforms, even the president saying that he wants to hand over power to your candidate, for example.
Yes.
We have a minister also saying or trying to give that indication as well. And so all these things, including these actions of the Electoral Commission, give some conclusion in the minds of people that these are orchestrated.
How do you correlate a campaign platform campaign when the person didn't mention EC, that EC will do this for us?
The election is not.
No. You want Akufo-Addo to say that. You want Akufo-Addo to say that he will hand over to Mahama. You want Akufo-Addo to go at a campaign platform to say, I want to hand over to Mahama.
The president is the president.
This is a warp logic. If you want the president to go there and say that on a campaign platform to say that I will hand over to Mahama.
How is that warp logic?
I am saying that he is on a campaign platform saying that I will want to hand over to my vice president because we've done a lot of work that I believe that.
That's not what he said. He said that
Yes.
The first time before he even subsequently went on to,
Yes.
he said he was not going to hand over to somebody who he had defeated before.
Yes.
Continuously
So
also
how do you link this? Granted he said this. How do you link this with EC?
Continuously goes on to repeat that on other fora. And then we have actions that are being reported by the Independent Electoral Commission.
Yes.
That is giving the indication that the president is saying that the actions of the Electoral Commission.
I don't understand why you will have
and
to
so
correlate
ultimately
this
leads
with
to
EC.
an event on election day.
Whoever
and
tells
where
you.
the outcome could lead to distrust because something may have been forecasted or foretold.
As a student of politics, whoever tells you that the EC on the elections day will be able to cheat anyone, will be able to really get anyone elected without really, I don't know how to even put this, because I'm even surprised that you are relating this pronouncement with what the EC is doing. The EC cannot aid the MPP to win any elections in this country. The EC cannot, because the process of elections in this country starts at the polling station. And in the polling station, before even they open the ballot box, they will open the ballot box like this for every polling agent to see the content. They will close it. We have our seals as political party to seal it. Then they will give us the serial number of even the ballot sheets and so on. The elections are done at the polling station, conducted there, declared there, and you will sign against it with your pink sheet. That was the reason in 2016 we were able to collate our results and told you the number of votes we got. Again, even media house like TV3 is able to even independently be at the constituencies to even get the votes and collate it and bring it. Now, the mystery around the collation center where people don't even get to the EC collation center is now off. Because now, after the collation at the district level, it is moved to the regional, and the region will certify all the results in the region before it moves to Accra. And in Accra, the media houses are there. So how can the EC manipulate the elections? We have conducted, the EC officials, we had 3 EC people who were appointed to man elections from 1992 up to today. 2 of them were appointed by the NDC, but they couldn't aid them to win the elections. In 2016, we antagonized Charlotte Osei. We were on her neck to give us a new register. She didn't give. We went ahead to campaign and we won the elections. Yes,
you're antagonizing.
We won the elections.
Okay.
We won the elections with over 1 million votes. So we don't need any EC anywhere to win the elections in this country.
Mr. Jantwa, you look at all the shouting by Mr. Awara and the concerns that have been raised by key critics of the Electoral Commission is that the election on election day is just the event, but the processes leading to that event and the actions thereof are what sums up the concerns about why the trust could erode or is eroding for the EC, and why there could be concerns of either manipulation or unfairness or disenfranchisement, etc. Do you think you're seeing that in these processes leading up to the 2024 general elections?
Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my fellow panelists. Let me take it from where Awal left off. Awal indicated to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, or indicated to us that the elections, everything is counted at the polling station. So no one can try and disfigure the figures. So I asked the question, so what happened 2020 when the presidential election was counted more than once? At
the polling station.
Allow.
No, he asked.
Well, please. Allow him to make his point.
If at the polling station all the figures were collated, everything was well, when it got to the Electoral Commission and the announcement of the presidential elections, how many times were those figures announced? Only once? Only twice? Only thrice? Only 4 times? Only 5 times? And that is where the mistrust, the seed of mistrust was sown. That time where figures of presidential was announced more than once by the Electoral Commission. And unfortunately, the Electoral Commissioner hasn't been able to build the kind of trust that would let people feel that there's no mischief going on. Makes it difficult. And she hasn't seen it fit to do that. When you look at the fact that we have decided to use internet, wireless for elections, the NDC made sure when they were in power that the Western backbone, the fiber Western backbone, internet fiber, they did it. This government came in. Have they completed anything of the Western fiber backbone? Have they? Of the countries? Yes, the fiber
Western
backbone.
corridor.
Yeah, the Western corridor.
Fiber optic backbone.
Yes,
we've completed it.
You haven't touched it.
To improve network.
To improve network. To
Well,
improve network.
Yes.
Since we are using technology, don't worry, he's always doing it to me. Since we are using technology for our elections, which is key, nothing has been done. So the mistrust is already fomented there. Go throughout the country and ask the question, do you trust the Electoral Commissioner, not the Electoral Commission, the Electoral Commissioner, to give you fair elections? Find out what would be said. And when you now take comments by the president linked into some of the things we see, it makes it difficult. It makes it difficult. I believe that the Electoral Commissioner should be one person who brings peace. But let me ask the question, Roland. Elections is for who?
The people.
The people. And for who else? Political parties, isn't it? It is one body that helps us determine who we want to rule us. Don't you think it should be a situation where political parties should see a misdemeanor going on and come together and discuss it and make sure that it's corrected? Why is it that every time one party is against the Electoral Commission and the other party is for the Electoral Commission? Why? Isn't elections meant for all of us? And if we find the Electoral Commissioner not doing what she's supposed to do, not doing what they're supposed to do, isn't it up to the political parties, even through IPAC, to make sure that the right thing is done? Shouldn't it be so? But we are always knocking our heads together. To whose advantage? And why is it that we always want to take the shortest route to win elections? Why? If it's not foreigners, it's minors. Why? Really and truly, wouldn't it even be great if political party agents would not be seen around the registration because we believe that is fair? Wouldn't it be great? When are we going to get to that position? Because all this banter, and the NDC before I say, NMP before I say, anyway I say, it's not helping. It's not helping any of us. And the question of trust is where the issue is. So, faulty equipment. When we are going into this type of situations, election, what does the EU tell us? We are ready. Everything is fine. We're going through. Everything will be fine. Then what do we find? Equipment lapses. Equipment not working. Internet processes not working. Then you get, they come and tell you that, oh, this figure is minor. So it won't cause any ripples in the election. It is 50 plus what? 1. That 1 can create a lot of problems. So if Electoral Commission comes to tell me that the figures don't matter, Electoral Commission is figures. All this court we've been through with regards to we don't agree to the Electoral Commission and the figures. Isn't it figures? Is it not figures? And then I ask the question, if really and truly we feel that the Electoral Commission is doing all they can, 2020 elections, when the NDC took the Electoral Commission to court, why didn't Jimensa put on the stand? Why wasn't she put on the stand? If she were put on the stand, you know what it would have done? It would have built more credibility because she would have been able to defend herself better, irrespective of the fact that the NDC weren't able to produce the kind of documentation they produced. It was a huge opportunity for her to now come and tell the country exactly what went on. Did she take it? So that kind of mistrust has been building, and now we are heading for 2024 election. A very crucial election, and trust and confidence is not in the Electoral Commissioner.
If you take a look at these incidents, which they say are minor incidents, the delays, the network issues, the offline registration, which perhaps in some instances you look at the stakeholder, it doesn't give them room for comfort. Ultimately, the Electoral Commission should rather be taking responsibility and not defending. Shouldn't that be the case?
The Electoral Commission has a huge backbone in IPAC. They have a huge backbone in IPAC. And for instance, the missing, is it BDVs, BRVs? They shouldn't have left it for the opposition.
First credit denied.
I said for the opposition to come and stand in Parliament and say it. The first thing they should have done was call an emergency IPAC and tell the political parties, this and this and this and this is what we have identified. We are working on it, and keep them informed. Let them know that you've reported it to the police. Let them know that you are doing something constructive about it. But when it was told the country, they denied it. And if you deny it, and later it comes to show that it is true, how is confidence built in an Electoral Commission? How? Look, the one thing that can create mayhem and peace in this country is the Electoral Commission.
Are you seeing the signs?
I will say it's a challenge for them to be able to clear, because it looks as if the signs are gradually getting there. But you know something with Ghana, one thing I love about Ghana, sometimes we move to the point of falling off the cliff, then we yank ourselves back. But if you've realized, that yanking ourselves back hasn't come from utterances from a president who feels that whatever the case is, they have to win. This comment that he made, what did he say? He's not ready to do what? To hand over to what? Somebody he's defeated how many times? Didn't somebody defeat him in 2008? Didn't somebody defeat him in 2012? So that comment he made, what was he trying to tell us? Look, I believe that where President Akufo-Addo has gotten to, he is now a statesman. His comments should bring us together and not dissipate us. And please, he should stop bringing party before country. Bringing party before country. That doesn't help us. He should bring country before party. And by so doing, it brings us together.
Now, just in 2 minutes, Ms. Ayariga, at the end of the day, what will be your expectations for the subsequent days that are remaining for this registration that you expect of the EC based on the concerns that have been raised? Just in 2 minutes.
Yes, Roland, I mean, we have raised all our genuine concerns, and we expect that in the coming days, the EC should be as transparent as possible in its dealings. We're expecting that in the coming days, the EC should remain that independent, neutral umpire in this entire process. We expect the security agencies also to be able to collaborate with the EC for there to be absolute peace in every registration center. And we do not expect the EC to be part and parcel of the process where they are being registered so far as minors are concerned, the registration of minors. We don't expect the EC officials to be complicit in the registration of minors.
And foreigners.
And foreigners, of course. My brother Awal tried to create an impression. Collins Dada was never ever arrested. I think that needs to be put out there clearly. Collins Dada was never ever arrested. That is the case.
So what happened?
Now,
That he
please.
went to the police station.
When you're speaking, I was very quiet. Please, let's be civil this morning. Yes. Collins Dada was never ever arrested. The next thing is that the EC has the NDC has never been against the use of Ghana card for registration. We're only against the use of the Ghana card as the sole document. So don't come and say we're against the CI, so for that matter, because of the Ghana card, we're against it. And that was the impression you're trying to create. No, we're against the sole use of the Ghana card as the only document for registration. And you did say that it's all about on the voting day. Roland, election is just not about 7 December. Election is about registration. From registration, you go into the register itself. Deduplication. You go into the register to make sure that you clean up the register. So from the time of registration, that is when the process starts. If you sleep during registration and on the 7th of December you are vigilant, the people who were ineligible to be on the register, once they are on the register, there's nothing you can do about it on the 7th of December. So election, as the EC director tried to say, it's not just about 7th December to the NDC. It is about from the first day of registration to the last day we shall declare the results that the NDC has won the election. And that is what will happen. So we expect the EC to be as independent and transparent as possible. And key amongst them, I don't know whether you've observed the picture of one of the EC directors who was found in the Bono region also with the running mates. So the flag bearer to the MPP. And all these questions have been asked. And I think the EC has been silent on that issue. I haven't heard, I don't know whether you have heard, I haven't heard an official response to that picture, whether it was a recent picture, it was an old picture, whether he was part of that campaign or he was visiting the campaign team or he was only there to greet the flag bearer. I think the EC should be able to respond to. I haven't seen a response to that picture of an EC director being part of the campaign team or moving with the campaign team or being in a picture of the campaign
You're saying
team.
all those breed their distrust.
Yes, all those breed the distrust because we expect them to be independent and to be that.
2 minutes for you, of course.
There was an event.
Your expectations of the EC.
There is no event. There is no individual from the EC who is a member of our campaign team. And there was no instance anywhere where you have a flag bearer hobnobbing with any of the EC officials.
Well, you haven't seen the picture. Well, Dr. Baumia and then the EC member.
There was an
the
event.
commissioner.
There was an event at UNAIR, and this was a national event at UNAIR where.
So you are explaining that.
Where Dr. Apiahene was a lecturer. They invited him in his capacity of a former lecturer
You said no,
at the department.
You said no intervention.
At the department, because it was at the behest of the department he was lecturing, that they had a national event on natural resources. The vice president was a keynote speaker at that event. It happens that a lot of people attended that event, including civil society and everyone. And Dr. Apiahene happens to be at the event as a former lecturer there. So he was not in any way part of our campaign. He has never been part of our campaign. And Dr. Baumia's campaign team also did not go to that event at UNAIR to campaign. When you check the speech by Dr. Baumia, it was never a campaign platform. It was just an official platform that the president, that the vice president went there. Again, the NDC have raised a lot of issues. When they raised the issues, they only put in allegations without really giving evidence or adducing evidence to the allegations that they have really put out. I don't expect the EC to keep quiet and say what the NDC is saying is true. No. we all expect the EC to be as transparent as possible, so that at least if we are to beat the NDC, we know we will beat them squarely. That's very important. As I mentioned earlier, the NPP do not need the EC to win any elections in this country. Afari-Jan was appointed by the NDC. Charlotte Osei was appointed by the NDC. And it is only Jean Mensa that was appointed by this government. But we won 2 elections or 3 elections with Afari-Jan and Charlotte Osei. So we do not need the assistance of any EC to win elections in this country. We believe that we have solid message. We want every Ghanaian 18 years and above to be on the register, so that at least we target them, we go to them, campaign for them, to them, so that they will vote for us. Again, we will train our agents, as we did in 2016. We brought in sophisticated, at least equipment to be able to collect our results. The NDC is crying wolf because they do not have campaign message. That's the reason the NDC is crying wolf, saying that the EC will be able to manipulate the elections for someone to win the elections. The EC cannot manipulate any elections.
Mr.
for us
Jantua,
to
what
win
do you
any
expect
elections in
of
this
the Electoral
country.
Commission, just in 2 minutes, based on the things we've itemized, and then the science you're seeing on the ground, just in 2 minutes?
I expect them to work closely with the political parties. I expect them, in this short duration of time, build trust. I expect them to be able to take care of all the challenges to do with equipment, internet, to make sure that they are able to allow the political parties to police the elections well. For me, the challenge has got to do also with the transportation of figures. Look, the media has a huge role to play. Political parties have a huge role to play, and individuals who have the wherewithal to monitor the figures coming in have a huge role to play. It would be disastrous if the media collating the figures coming in is a wide percentage out of what the Electoral Commission gives us. So I'm hoping that as we head towards the election, there would be consensus, they would be working closely with political parties, and the abstract, if I can call it abstract, comments of the powers that be should be minimized. Because what has made Ghana today, where elections are concerned, is the peace.
Okay. I have this one from Christian Ador, and says, please let Awa understand that the most authentic identification of a vehicle is its chassis number. We all know how criminals use fake vehicle number plates to commit crime. And
Police Dauda has never come out to say the cars do not belong to him.
The president sacked an EC to bring his... Okay. I have this one from Fred Forsen, who says, this argument of the president handing over to his vice president ought to be put in the right perspective. In Ghana, presidents don't physically hand over to their successors. What it actually means is that the president will not accept the 2024 presidential result should any person win apart from his vice. And that is treacherous, treasonable, and then an affront to our democracy. All right? And then Courage Kotoka says, to be frank, the rigging of elections starts from registration. So the EC should be very careful, especially since we had Dr. Bosman Asari come to defend everything and see nothing wrong with anything. And that's Courage Kotoka. And then I have Oscar Mensah says, the land guard sent by Esiama to come and attack us at the registration center 2 days ago in Okankwe. I've sent you the video because I have the video as well. I got it the last time. Okay. So, Roland, please ask Awao if there have been free elections before under the sun. Has he been into an election before? Of course. He went to university and contested, of course. So why did they write the stolen verdict after 1992 election? This is Kunalise Johnson Clifford from Ajekujo West.
Yeah, when you read the stolen verdict, you know that it was just a rigged election.
And then this one is from Nana Imedu, Jubilee House Communications. He says, please ask Jantua that as a lawyer, does he find it necessary for the EC to be on the stance when the NDC failed to adduce evidence for her to respond to? And then, of course, we have another one from Sonny. Sonny says, all the things happen for a reason, and the concerns being raised are not out of a vacuum. And so we should be concerned because we need the trust of the EC as an arbiter and an independent collation as well as organization for the elections. And then Tahiru Sawals says, there are key issues and we all should be concerned. And well, so we have many as well. Let me just read a last one. Master Planner Kintampo Jr. says, the EC is really doing a fantastic work. Let us support them to ensure free and fair elections come December. I don't know why the NDC is so afraid of the EC. Is it because they don't have anything to tell Ghanaians? That's why we come next with questions. And we'll look at, how's the campaign going for DMB so far?
It is going on so well. Looking at how he has started his campaign, he has done 9 regions now. He's in the 10th region, and the response is really overwhelming to the extent that since he started moving, every media house, every newspaper is talking about the policies and programs that he's putting in place to make sure that lets Ghana move to the 4th industrial revolution, which is anchored on digital. The vice president has been talking to the clergy, the chiefs, and the youth in particular at a Youth Connect. Almost in all the regions, he will meet the youth.
Is that where the nurse raised the incident?
That's where. Yes. So these are. This is really a campaign which is really not the usual campaign of busing people to go to a place and cheer the person up. You have the platform campaign and so on. When we go to any region, about 3-4 people will speak. Then the vice president will be given the opportunity as the candidate to speak on the issues that he really are putting out to the people of this country. When he meets the youth, one thing that he tells them more is the issue of the 1 million people being trained in software development and so on to catch up with the digital revolution that really he will want to introduce in this country. And again, the second one has to do with the people living with disability having to go for free tertiary education and some few other things that the vice president
Was it not shocking that the vice president didn't know that nursing students hadn't been given some allowances or were owed?
He can know. He may not know because everything that happens within this country. It's not.
I'm asking this because
yes,
there was a preface. Yes. It was telling them
that we have restored, which is a fact.
Yeah, sure.
We started paying, which is a fact.
If there are arrears, if there are arrears,
yes, if there are arrears,
that he didn't know.
It doesn't mean that we have not restored it. Right. He said we have restored the allowance, which is a fact. We are continuing paying, which is also a fact. When you check even the arrears, it's not everyone that is owned throughout. Like say someone has started and has not been paid throughout. You could tell that some are 3 months, some are 4 months, and some are not up to date in their payment and so on. But the fact is, how's
Job Ahmed's campaign going? And I'm sure DMB's campaign is sending shivers down the spine.
Well,
of you.
DMB's campaign is not a campaign; it's a comedy show.
So what do you mean by that?
It's a comedy show because the vice president is roaming about joking, and once he's done joking, but the vice president said he was joking. When he made a promise about the church, the vice president came out to say he was joking. So if a whole vice president can come out and tell us he was joking on a campaign platform, it's a comedy show. It is not a campaign. He is not serious. In fact, the vice president has reduced and denigrated the office of vice president to a comedy show. Why would you let me land? When you were speaking, I was quiet. Let me speak. Let me speak. So if you have reduced the office of vice president to a comedy show, I don't think you should be taking
just because
seriously.
He said that statement he was joking.
But how can a whole vice president be joking on a campaign platform? Then what we need to do is to get a huge billboard. Then we put Clemento Suarez here, General Ntetia there. Then we'll feature Bawumia as part of a comedy show. 1,024 laughs where Bawumia will be featuring for us to all joke. This is serious business. Governance is not a joke. Governance is serious business. Now let me you can talk about the president of Ukraine. So Bawumia wants to be, if Bawumia wants to be a comedian, yes, I'll come to John Mahama. You see, John Mahama has a lot of messages for the good people of this country, especially the youth of this country. I did hear them, and key among the issues, my pain, even as a Ghanaian, is the fact that Bawumia, you realize that he lacks ideas and they are beginning to steal the policies and ideas of the NDC. This coders programmers he spoke about. If you listen, I mean, I'm coming in this ICT, you said you are training this youth in ICT and software. Would you let me speak? This youth in ICT and software development talk about 1 million. Look into the NDC's manifesto. Go and read the NDC's manifesto in 2020. It is there that the NDC will train 1 million youth, which will go into web development, and we call it the 1 million coders program. The next thing he spoke about is the fact that they are going to introduce scholarship for people living with disabilities. It is in the NDC's manifesto, 2020 manifesto. So don't go about stealing policies. So did you do it? Did you do it? He said, did you do it? Did you do it? This is a campaign that lacks. This is a campaign that lacks. This is a campaign that lacks direction. This is a campaign that doesn't have any purpose.
Ambassador
This is a campaign that doesn't know where it is going. This is not a serious campaign.
Ambassador,
You couldn't tell us what Mahama will be able to do. Only bastardizing Bawumia.
Mr. Gatwa.
They don't have any message.
Sorry. Ambassador Toxla says, Awa wants to be smart about the involvement of the ECIT director in Bawumia's campaign movement. Dr. Peter Apiahene was a TESCOM patron at the same university and was at the IT department. So how was he invited to join Bawumia as a former lecturer in a department he was never in? And these actions by somebody who is politically tainted breeds distrust. All right. Okay. And then also, let me have you wrap up for me just in a minute, sir.
So, are you trying to tell me that right now, the vice president, being a driver's mate, can convince his master, the president, to raise 177 million Ghana cedis for nurses? Is that what you're trying to tell me? This one he's been able to do. That he can go to his master as a driver's mate. He tells his driver's mate he doesn't have any power. But he's found power to bring one to show. Please.
Please show some respect. Wow. Please. Why are you doing this? What kind of attitude?
You don't misconstrue our words. You don't
let him make his point. Wow. Please be decent.
The candidate didn't say that.
Please.
Has he not found 177 million for the nurses? Was he not the same person who said he was a driver's mate? So
this is like a driver's mate. He didn't say I'm a driver's mate.
Well, then he's like a driver's mate.
He said the work I do is like a driver's mate.
Please allow him to talk.
He didn't say.
What's the difference? Tell me what the difference is. What's the difference?
He's a vice president.
What's the difference?
He's a vice president.
So you're saying,
and you are a lawyer, and you know, as a vice president, he does not have any constitutional mandate to do anything in this country except the president telling him to do it.
Let him make his point.
Listen to me. Open your ears, clean your ears, and listen to me. What I just said was that he's been able to convince the president to find 177 million cedis for nurses.
Yes.
He's been able to. The others he couldn't.
Which ones?
Because which ones?
Which ones? Which ones he couldn't?
Point well made.
Which ones?
Roland, I personally went to the ladies' school in Echima and the principal admitted that for Zaria, who is offering this,
Raymond, please,
has been paid. Okay, so he says for Zaria, who has been offering nursing assistantship or preventive care, which is a 2-year course. None of his students has been paid their allowances for the entire 2 years, and they are in their final semester. Righteous in Echima.
But that is what the lady said. You will get it next week.
Please, he didn't.
Helga Boedi says the behavior of a while smarts of somebody who is indecent, who is indecent and is not decorous. He should allow his co-panelists
as incompetent.
He should allow his co-panelists to make their points. Now, we also have Ashinto as well. And then this one is from Sham. Sham says, please tell Mr. Wal that The president didn't say he would want to hand over. He said he will not hand over to a candidate he had defeated before.
Just
All of
to
you,
conclude-
thank you very much.
Just to conclude,
You want to
do you
conclude?
know that there's still arrears to nurses of 2-3 years back? The vice president should go and find money for
He
them
said
too.
August.
Let me
He
finish.
said- he mentioned August, they will
Our
get
stop
the-
it.
they will
Our
be
stop
recruited
it.
in August.
Mother's Day-
Did you listen to the
Are you
vice
the only one here
president?
talking?
I'm saying that the vice
Are you the
president.
only
Mother's
one
Day
here?
special
I'm giving you an
promo
information.
from the
Are you
5th
the only
to
one
the
here?
31st
In August,
of May.
I was quiet. I said,
Well,
be quiet.
that'll be for now. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
Recruited in August. The vice president mentioned this.